Prince Harry is fighting again, and this time his fury is directed towards two insiders, Lady C and Tom Bower. After their groundbreaking revelations on live TV, which opened up the secrets that the Sussexes have long hidden, Prince Harry is threatening a lawsuit. But instead of being scared, in fact, they're daring him to try. What exactly did they say that sent the Duke of Sussex into a meltdown? And why is Buckingham Palace staying so quiet? Join us as we unveil how Lady C claps back after Prince Harry tried to sue her and Tom Bower. The rage of a prince. Ever since the Sussexes were deprived of the use of their HRH titles, Prince Harry has been rather unstable. Every now and again, he appeared in the news and tabloid for all the wrong reasons. His anger towards his plight is visible in every step he takes. He is angry at himself and the royal family. But now, his anger has reached a whole new height, and this time, it's aimed squarely at two people who are bold enough to say the things others can't. Two royal biographers who refuse to back down. According to insiders, the Duke of Sussex is currently threatening to take Lady Colin Campbell and Tom Bower to court after their recent televised revelations ignited a storm that caught him unawares, and one which he's now desperately trying to control. The two authors didn't just offer light commentary during their appearance. They laid out detailed claims about Harry's personal life, his behavior behind the scenes, some things he's trying to keep hidden, things which are glaring inconsistencies. And when Harry came to know about the broadcast, sources say he erupted in anger, and he is convinced that the only way to stop the bleeding is to sue them. But here's the problem. Lady C and Tom Bower are not exactly the kind of people who can be scared easily. Both of them have built their careers from scratch, dissecting the royal family's secrets. They basically open up royal secrets for living, and each of them is armed with extensive networks of sources who have quietly opened up over the years. To scare people like that, you'd need more than a lawsuit. Perhaps Harry is too blindsided by his rage to realize that. To make things even more suspicious, Buckingham Palace has stayed dead silent on the rumors. They neither denied nor clarified anything, just a classic, "we don't engage in speculation" kind of statement. And while everyone knows how the internet works, when there's such silence, it only makes people dig even harder. In no time at all, several clips from the interview have already gone viral. Hashtags are trending. And for some reason, people are revisiting old footage of Meghan's pregnancies like they're CSI analysts. But what did the royal authors say to fuel so much rage in him? Lady C and Tom Bower. During the live broadcast that caused the whole saga, Lady C and Tom Bower didn't hesitate to tackle one of the most sensitive topics surrounding the Sussexes, the question marks that have always hung over the births of their two children, Archie and Lilibet. Unlike other royal births that follow strict protocols and public announcements, these events, they alleged, were shrouded in unusual secrecy. There were no clear hospital photos, no straightforward confirmations from the palace, and no transparent timelines. And just when you think it couldn't get any wilder, Bower even claimed his investigative team checked the hospitals Meghan was said to have delivered in and found nothing traceable. Not a single piece of concrete evidence. Now that's a bombshell. Lady C was not far behind either. According to her, the lack of evidence might point to something very much bigger, perhaps even the use of surrogacy, a topic that has lingered on the edges of royal gossip for years. She looked straight into the camera and called out the strange optics of Meghan's pregnancies, referencing viral footage where Meghan's baby bump appeared to shift unnaturally. According to her, no pregnant woman moves like that. And honestly, the internet agreed. It sparked an avalanche of speculation. It's very much worse for Meghan because even her own family does not support her, especially her father, Thomas Markle, and her sister, Samantha Markle. What could be worse than that? Actually, it does get worse. Not only does she have no support from her family, but they've chosen to speak against her. In an interview with journalist Dan Wooten, Samantha spoke about her father's comment on the birth of Archie. Thomas had mentioned to her that 9 months before Archie was allegedly born, Meghan had picked up her frozen eggs. Samantha said that it suggests that surrogacy was involved. Her father also said he didn't know the identity of the child. Samantha expressed frustration with the lack of transparency, saying if they used a surrogate, they should admit it instead of lying to the world. About the irregularity of Meghan's first pregnancy bump, footage as far back as 2019, which had been disregarded before as a wind problem, has resurfaced online. It shows her baby bump shifting from one position to another under her dress during that particular public appearance. Over time, it became impossible to believe that the bump was real. It moved about too much and changed in size. Sometimes it was big, at other times it grew smaller. Shouldn't a baby bump grow steadily bigger? Also, it didn't particularly help matters that Meghan accidentally allowed herself to be filmed running up a flight of stairs in stiletto heels when she was supposedly 7 months gone. That kind of athleticism is shocking even to professional athletes, as one of them who commented on the video said she couldn't do that because pregnancy would have caused her balance to change. The fact that these claims are now being discussed on major broadcasts is precisely what's rattled Harry, according to royal watchers. These aren't just rumors and shady forums anymore. If the public starts questioning the legitimacy of his children's births, then the entire Sussex image, the one they've spent years crafting, could fall apart like a house of cards. Yet Lady C and Bower insist they're not just stirring the pot for clicks. They say their information is backed by credible sources, internal palace documents, and even eyewitness accounts. In the world of royalty, bloodlines and legitimacy aren't merely symbolic. They determine titles, inheritances, and a family's very position in the monarchy's future. That's why questions about Archie and Lilibet's births, if left unchecked, could become a serious problem for the Sussexes. Public doubt isn't something you can simply sweep under the rug, especially when high-profile authors are vowing to take their evidence into a courtroom if necessary. Viewers began posting old footage of Meghan's public appearances while pregnant, slowing down the clips frame by frame and pointing out odd moments when her stomach appeared to fold or shift unnaturally. Theories that had once been dismissed as outlandish were suddenly being re-examined with fresh intensity. Adding fuel to the fire, Lady C reminded the audience that royal births typically follow strict traditions. Doctors are publicly named, hospital steps become the backdrop for official photographs, and the palace releases detailed medical announcements. With Archie and Lilibet, none of that happened. The vagueness was deliberate, she suggested, implying the Sussexes wanted to keep something hidden. Even though her comments are only speculative, they actually sit well with many who already felt the couple's narrative had something fishy. And the silence from Buckingham Palace didn't help matters. That hesitation was interpreted by some as a sign there might be more to the story, and it doesn't matter if it was intentional or not. Here's the twist. There's actually more to the story. It goes beyond the births. The allegations against the Sussexes about the birth of their children were already mind-blowing, but it doesn't stop with the birth records. During the broadcast, Bower claimed there were inconsistencies in Harry's ongoing claims about security fears, finances, and how he and Meghan have handled their break from the royal family. As a matter of fact, he went as far as to accuse the couple of manipulating the media to maintain control of the narrative, and he believes this tactic is now backfiring on them. Harry reacted by issuing various denials and an immediate push to sue both authors for defamation. But if he thought that threat would reduce the chaos, he couldn't have been more mistaken. In her signature style, not only did Lady C dismiss Harry's threats, she practically invited them, saying, "Let him sue me." This kind of confidence only comes when you know you have the receipts to back you up. She hinted that if this battle were ever to reach a courtroom, Harry would only be doing more harm to himself by exposing far more damaging truths than he's currently facing. That confidence struck a chord with viewers who are already growing skeptical of the Sussexes' pattern of shutting down critics. And as Harry's team scrambles behind the scenes, the question everyone is now asking is simple. What is he so afraid of coming out? Royal insiders are whispering that the stakes have never been higher for Prince Harry. The growing storm around Lady C and Tom Bower's allegations isn't just about bruised egos or tabloid headlines. It could have constitutional consequences. Bower went further, tying the birth controversies to larger issues he believes define Harry and Meghan's approach to their public image. He accused the couple of weaponizing accusations of racism and security fears to shield themselves from criticism. Every time they're cornered, Bower said, they throw up a smokescreen, but it's wearing thin. He pointed to their lucrative Netflix deal and book contracts as evidence of financial desperation, claiming the Sussexes need the money now more than ever. According to him, that desperation might explain why they're so fiercely protective of the narrative around their children. Any public doubt could threaten the very brand they've built since leaving royal duties. Lady C echoed that sentiment with even sharper language. She accused Meghan of marrying Harry for status and wealth, only to discover he wasn't as financially secure as she'd imagined. She believed he'd be worth hundreds of millions, if not billions, Lady C said. And instead, she found a man dependent on the institution she convinced him to attack. It was a brutal assessment, but it struck a chord with critics who believe the Sussexes' relentless media projects have less to do with advocacy and more to do with survival. Now that Colin Campbell and Tom Bower have blown their whistle, where does the prince stand? The Sussexes' position now. The atmosphere around the Sussexes is no longer the same. What began as a public relations headache that could be easily quelled is now turning into a full-blown war. Left to Harry, he would proceed with his egalitarian action. But at what cost? Legal analysts have examined the case, and their recommendations are not what Harry expected to hear. They outrightly warned him not to proceed with his plan, because doing so would only cause more problems for him. Here's how. If Harry does follow through on his threat to sue, he stands a big risk of opening the very doors he's been trying for years to keep shut. The confidence shown by Lady C has become a rallying cry for those who believe the royal family has grown too comfortable silencing critics. When she made that blunt declaration, "Let him sue me," she wasn't merely throwing a jab at Prince Harry, brazenly issued a challenge, daring him to take the fight into a courtroom where evidence could be scrutinized in the full view of the public. According to legal experts, this is the very reason why Harry may hesitate to carry out his threat. When a person files a defamation lawsuit, he is often required to open up his private records. And in this case, those records would definitely include the very birth documents Lady C and Tom Bower have been questioning. The deafening silence from the palace only deepened the intrigue. What everyone probably expected was that they would directly issue a firm denial or support Harry's legal threats, but instead, Buckingham Palace released a boilerplate statement about refusing to engage in speculation. Behind the scenes, however, insiders claim that senior royals are deeply uneasy. If the stakes are high for Harry and Meghan, they are even higher for the palace because the monarchy's reputation depends on the perception of unshakable legitimacy. And as such, even mere whispers about birth irregularities can be corrosive. One longtime royal historian noted that questions about royal bloodlines have toppled dynasties in the past, and according to him, if there's even the slightest hint that Archie or Lilibet's status could be legally challenged, it would be catastrophic. In social media, there's no diplomacy as in real life. The issue has turned Elle into a full-blown frenzy. Many royal fans have made posts demanding transparency, and these posts began trending within the very hours of Lady C and Bower's broadcast. Clips from the show have been shared millions of times, and online investigators are now combing through old footage of Meghan and Harry for perceived clues. Remember the images of Meghan's baby bump shifting awkwardly during public appearances? Well, video analysts are now revisiting them. What was once brushed off as harmless camera angles are being dissected frame by frame with captions like, "Was this all a performance?" Fueling the fire. Tom Bower's revelations added salt to injury when he alleged that Harry and Meghan's carefully crafted public image was merely a mask that hid a private reality overwhelmed by financial instability and strategic manipulation. He claimed that lucrative contracts with streaming giants and publishers are now at risk because the couple's credibility is under scrutiny. According to Bower during the broadcast, the Sussexes are backed into a corner and they know it. Every time a story threatens to unravel, they immediately go on the attack with the hope that fear would shut people up. But who would expect that instead of silencing their critics, Harry's threats only served to embolden them? With decades of royal connections in her pocket, there's no questioning the fact Lady C has amassed a large number of documents and witness statements that could be devastating if made public. She even gave a slight hint that she's sitting on medical timelines, confidential correspondence, and testimony from individuals who worked closely with Meghan during both pregnancies. In her words, if Harry wants the matter to end up in court, she had no problems with it. But then the public would see every document, every log, every record, and the truth would be brought to light. And it is precisely that confidence that makes her such a dangerous adversary to anyone. Unlike Harry, who has everything to lose, exposing what she knows would cost her nothing. Royal watchers believe the outcome of this feud could have ripple effects for years to come. Now Harry stands between the devil and the deep blue sea. If he chooses not to pursue legal action, it may look like he's admitting that he's afraid of what could be found. But on the other hand, if he does take Lady C and Bower to court, the Sussexes risk having their entire private life laid bare in a public trial, something they've been trying to prevent. Either scenario threatens to erode what's left of the couple's public goodwill. As questions continue to mount and the media firestorm shows no sign of slowing, one reality is becoming impossible to ignore. And that's the fact that the longer Prince Harry tries to control the narrative, the less control he seems to have. But what would the Duke do after this showdown? What's next for Prince Harry? It's no secret to anyone that the Sussex camp has been entangled in an ongoing feud with the Windsor Castle since when they quit their royal life in 2020 and moved across the ocean to a different country. Their exit from royal duty, tagged Megxit, was closely followed by several high-publicity projects, such as their groundbreaking deal with Netflix and the 6-part documentary that followed right after, their bombshell sit-down interview with Oprah Winfrey, and Harry's protocol-shattering memoir titled Spare. His memoir quickly became the fastest-selling nonfiction book of all time after it was released in January 2023. In that book, Harry left no stone unturned as he poured in all the family drama and dynamics within the monarchy. Among the many revelations that were nothing short of eyebrow-raising, the memoir details Harry's contentious relationships with his father and brother, Prince William, and the problems caused by his marriage to Markle that caused him to shut the door on royal life altogether. They have only returned to the UK a few times since, and now, according to a new report, the British royal family is extremely reluctant to reconcile with Meghan Markle, despite being open to peace talks with Prince Harry. Just weeks after the Duke of Sussex sent his aides to London to meet with King Charles's communications secretary, it emerged that the core of the royal rift hasn't changed in the slightest. According to insiders, there's no trust, and that singular factor remains at the heart of the family feud that has lasted for years. And of course, everyone believes that Meghan, the Suits alum, is to blame. On her 44th birthday, a source revealed in clear terms that the royal family just don't trust her. The same source alleged that while the monarch is open to a resolution with the prince, the same cannot be said for their thoughts on Meghan. The report also says that the future of the family's dynamics may see Harry venture to and from the UK alone, meaning that his wife and their 2 children, Archie and Lilibet, will not join him. Apparently, the royal family's greatest fear is having any conversation they have with Markle become material for the next money-making venture she throws herself into. In the years since Megxit, King Charles has kept a rather stoic silence on top of a 5,450 9-mile distance from his estranged youngest son and his family. It should be noted that in recent weeks, Harry has made it known that he's serious about reconciling with his family members by offering to share his diary dates with the royal family to ensure total transparency. And beyond that, the offer has reportedly been extended to his brother and sister-in-law, the Prince and Princess of Wales, who have not spoken to the Sussexes in years. Was Meghan's pregnancy all it seemed? And if it wasn't, how far would Prince Harry go to protect that secret? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.